All right, hello guys. Welcome here to another episode of Sunday Morning Tinkle. We're back once again. Kind of a slow news week, to be honest. So,
Yeah, but it seems like a lot more football related than anything. But yeah, it kind of does seem pretty slow.
um, you know, but hey, we still got stuff to talk about, and let's
Mhm.
just get right into it. We're recording Saturday night. We both got to get to bed, so um, we'll start with the Rangers. I'll start with my takeaways. So the Rangers and their head coach Gerard Gallant have parted ways following the first round exit. To be honest, if anybody was going to get fired after the first round, I would have expected the Boston Bruins coach to be fired after the first round because and we got to talk about this as kind of a side topic here. The Boston Bruins were eliminated in the first round after having the league record for best, or the league's best record in the history of the NHL. Um, and I forgot to put this on there, but I did do a Twitter poll. Of course, you got to follow me at Tinkle underscore B Hummel. Um, I occasionally do put up polls on there so that way, we can talk about it on our shows. At least this one and out of turn four. Um, so I put up this poll. The NHL Bruins, hashtag NHL Bruins, had the best record in NHL history, only to be eliminated in the first round of the Stanley Cup Playoffs. Now, of course, in our time of watching sports, there have been a few big chokes. So where would you rate this choke compared to the 16-0 Patriots and the 2016 Warriors team that went 73-9? I asked worse, equal, or are those two worse? And be honest, I'm sorry, that one's worse.
It might be, yeah, man. Especially since it's really never been done before in hockey. You're the top team. You're supposed to be this, you know, top team, and then you get eliminated in the first round. And I feel like we've been seeing it a lot in sports as of late, especially in this year, with a lot of top
Yeah,
teams going down, and one of them being the Milwaukee Bucks. Being the number one seed in the East, getting
yeah.
taken down by the Heat, a team that had a fight to even get into the playoffs.
There's no number
And
ones left in the NHL.
I'm not too sure. I mean,
No,
I would
there
think
isn't.
that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, sports right now, I mean, it's just showcasing that the underdogs might have a lot more punch
You know, and
than the top teams.
I don't want to cry rigged, but I gotta say, it seems like every year we have a theme. Like, it's like we have the underdog story, we have, it's like every year we either have an underdog story, we have a massive choke, we have like, phenomenal series, like tight series. It just seems like we go on a vicious cycle of it, right? And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
this year it started really with TCU getting to the championship. I feel like that really started the underdog story. And then, of course, you had the Eagles in the Super Bowl, who, frankly, were rated a little bit worse than the 49ers, you know. And then, of course, you go to March Madness. You had no number one seeds, I believe, past the round of 16. Okay, so now we fast forward to the NHL playoffs and the NBA playoffs, where the playoff teams, or the play-in teams got in, and then the NHL side, um, on the NHL side, all the number one seeds went out in the first round.
Hmm.
So I feel like it's just trending that direction. But I gotta say though, and I'm sorry, this is not comparable to the Bucks. I mean, this is the best record in league history. I mean, and actually, I completely forgot about the '01 Mariners as well, because the '01 Mariners had the best record in MLB history, and they got eliminated in the ALCS. So at least every other team that has had the best record in league history has gone to at least their conference championship, at bare minimum. To get eliminated in the first round, bro, that's laughable.
It is.
Come on, like, I think now this puts an end to the Warriors 3-1. And this puts an end to the Falcons. Well, this puts an end to the '07 Patriots. But, I mean, that was put to bed when the Warriors did what they did. So, now the Bruins are going to bear that cross for, what, the next 6-7 years before we get another, unprecedented season, like maybe in FIFA or something, or MLS. So I feel like MLS is due for that record breaker now. Or golf. I mean, because it doesn't seem to repeat, based on sport. So that's why I suggest that. So, but, oh man. Nonsense. But back to the Rangers, though. I mean, they retooled so much during the trade deadline. Of course, getting Patrick Kane was their biggest acquisition. I feel like this move was sort of that window was closing, and again, I think it shows, like I said about Brandon Staley this season, where he's got to win or he's gone. I'm sorry, there's no saving his job after this season if they don't advance in the playoffs or don't make it. This might have been that season for Gerard Gallant of, if you don't take us to the Stanley Cup after last season, you're gone. Although I don't see how you could do that, because last season you didn't deserve to go. You weren't projected to go as far as you did.
Right.
So, I don't know. This seems like kind of that. And it's the one thing about hockey and basketball is they're very quick to pull the trigger, I guess is the way to put it. They're very impulsive when it comes to coaching decisions. So, it'll be interesting to see who gets the Rangers job. Keep in mind, this happened a few years ago with the Islanders, and when the Islanders got a new head coach, they fell off a cliff after that. So, I'm not saying that could happen to the Rangers, but it surely don't look promising. So, but I got to move on to number 2. I didn't think I'd have to talk about this in May. I did not think I'd have to talk about this in May. Jackson Mahomes has been arrested for forcibly kissing a bartender. So, domestic battery or something like that. So,
well, definitely sexual harassment.
Yeah.
I mean,
again, this is not something I wanted to talk about, let alone something I figured we'd talk about this time of year. But this is not the first time Jackson Mahomes has had negative publicity surrounding him, of course. Dancing on Sean Taylor's number, doing obnoxious TikTok dances during football games on the field, much like Juju Smith-Schuster. So...
This boy is not, and I don't even say man, I'll say boy. This boy, just because your brother is famous doesn't mean you have to make yourself look like a jackass on the field.
And
that's all I'm going to say about it.
Repeat that louder for the wife behind Jackson, or the wife next to Patrick.
I don't know what to truly say about it. I mean, I think that he needs some help, if anything. That's about it.
I'm sorry.
Just
Are
man
we?
some help.
Can I address the elephant in the room? And I'm probably gonna get us canceled for this, but I gotta admit, I was shocked Jackson Mahomes forced himself on a woman. I'm sorry, it's I can't be the only one that thought that, but all joking aside on that, it's not good. It's not a good look for him. And Brittany, coming out and saying what she said, leave him alone, you don't know what he deals with. He committed a crime, bitch. Okay? He committed a crime, and he's gonna
And see that kind of falls on like what I was saying. Then if that's the case, then give him some help.
yeah, get him
Don't
some
let him
help.
keep on doing what he's doing.
You know,
And now you're saying that it's okay for him to do something like that because you don't know what he's dealing with. Which means if it's something mental wise, he should go get some help for it.
him and
Even if he
take his buddy Antonio Brown with him.
that's terrible.
Okay. So quick
Moving on.
apologies as we continue, or quick apologies, obviously, because clearly we're going way overboard and we're only 11 minutes in. So, but hey, I figured I'd had to get that out there. Um, I don't think we're going to see him in the public spotlight again, to be honest.
And if we do, then something's wrong with society.
Yeah, I don't know. Patrick Mahomes needs to take a page out of the Aaron Rodgers playbook and figure out how to just alienate himself from his family, man. Like his wife and his
Apparently,
brother are the worst of it.
apparently, it's not too much of a distraction because he's still out there winning
Mhm.
championships and still playing at the top of his game. So I guess he's found
And out there
some
getting
kind of escape.
some booze at the Kentucky Derby earlier, which will lead into my next point in a moment. But you know, like I said, he just needs to alienate himself from those two people. It's his wife, his brother, and a little bit of his mother that are like the most toxic people around him, and they just gotta stir the pot, be the big fanboys on like keyboard warriors on Twitter, and run their mouths in public. So unbelievably bad. But again, I hope Jackson Mahomes, in all seriousness, and I probably shouldn't have made the joke that I did, so I do apologize for that. But again, I don't think we'll see him in the public spotlight again. I think this will be the end. But Barstool and Twitter, when they see him in public, they'll do or say something to him, or say something about him. My mistake. So, I want to talk Kentucky Derby because not only did we crown the 149th different winner of it, but we have also had a little bit of controversy going into the race, and a strange one at that. Um, so Mage is the one that captured victory in the 149th Derby. But this is the part that's more astonishing, is lots of horses withdrew from that race, and add in that 7 of them had to be euthanized prior to the event. This is leading to some investigations now. There's clearly got to be an issue with horse safety if we're seeing so many that had to withdraw from the preliminary races, the main event, and ultimately a lot of them have to be killed on site.
Crazy.
Man, just unfortunate. But congratulations to Mage. I know the jockey on Mage is a Hall of Famer. It was his first time winning in 16 tries, so proud of
Wow.
him. Um, and congrats to him. Congrats to the trainer. I think the trainer was relatively new too, so that's always impressive. But we got to be ready for next year, because next year is going to be the Bob Baffert Fuck You Tour through the Triple Crown. For those who don't know, Bob Baffert was suspended 2 years for doping a horse before the race.
Doping a horse. That, I'm sorry, but that's just.
I forget what horse he doped, too. But I know that horse had to be put down later that year. But I'm actually going to look it up. It's going to bug me before I send it over to you. Yeah, so he is dispensing Thyro-L or thyroxine. Medina Spirit was the horse that was doped that won the Kentucky Derby. Ultimately was disqualified and then unfortunately had to be put down after a heart attack in December. Or December 2021. So that led to a Bob Baffert 2-year suspension. And like I said, I'll be here next year for the Bob Baffert Fuck You Tour. Because you know it's coming after a 2-year suspension.
Oh, true.
Speaking of Fuck You Tours, I think Jason's ready for a Fuck You Tour of his takeaways.
Yeah.
He looks kind of angry. No, I'm kidding.
No, I mean, I'm here.
I'm sorry. I had to hype you up. That's what it was.
So, well, it's been officially official that the documents have been signed and construction on the new Bills Stadium is set to begin immediately. Yeah, it's going to be interesting how they're going to how they're going to head into future seasons when construction's going on. Because, construction's going to begin immediately, so they're going to start tearing up some of the lot that they park cars in to build a new stadium right across from the current one. So it's going to be interesting how parking and everything is going to be done. I would assume that they're going to be announcing something about parking cars in like a different lot. They would have to modify some things, make it a little bit easier, because they're not going to have that whole entire parking lot full of cars, especially heading into the season. So I'm hoping that Buffalo has some plans for this construction. And I will say it's a huge step forward for the Bills going forward because they haven't really had a new stadium since. I think this is their first brand new stadium since becoming a team. So this is a great big step forward for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, they've renovated the current stadium multiple times, but I mean, that can only hold the stadium up as just so long. I think it's time for Buffalo to get a new stadium. One's a little bit higher off the ground, so you get not too much of the wind coverage. So it'll be a little bit better for fans' experience. And then they have a little bit of coverage over the 300 section, so if it does rain, it's going to be a little bit nice to be kind of covered unless you're further down to the field, then not so much. But honestly, I mean, it's a good step forward for the Buffalo Bills. I'm happy that they're going to get moving forward. 2026 can't come soon enough. I'm ready to see what this brand new stadium is going to look like, to see it in person. Mm-hmm. So,
well, I mean, it's not like it's Lambeau Field. It's not like it's Fenway Park or Wrigley Field. So it's not like it's a historical landmark. So again, so it makes sense that the Bills get a new one. Frankly, I'm against the Bears getting a new one, but that's a different story. I think the Bears should stay at Soldier. I mean, the Bills need a new one. There's no doubt.
Right.
But again, honestly, we'll see. Parking's gonna suck. I'm not gonna like parking there in the next few years if I go to a game.
I think parking moving forward, especially with construction going on, it's going to be an absolute fucking disaster. Excuse my language, but I would hope that they're going to come up with some solution, even if they have to borrow parking from somewhere else just for the meantime. I mean, it's already a disaster parking there regardless before construction. I can only imagine what how much worse it's going to be during construction.
It's got to advise
So
fans to carpool. That's the biggest thing.
it might have to. It might have to.
Yeah.
So moving forward to my second takeaway, it was stated that the GM didn't know if he wanted to pick up Jordan Love's fifth-year option. Didn't know if he was going to re-sign him. We didn't know if he was still going to be with the Packers after the season. Well, it's been official that Jordan Love has signed a one-year extension. The Green Bay Packers worth up to $22.5 million with $13.5 million guaranteed. Thoughts on that one? I mean,
he hasn't shown enough to me to get 22 mil in the old land. But again, this landscape is so different from the current NFL landscape where the quarterbacks are making 40 plus million. So I'd say this is a good deal. I just think though he's going to have a lot to prove and big shoes to fill. So
right.
we'll see.
I
And
mean,
then all this to play 14 years and then get traded to the Jets. So congratulations to the future Jets quarterback 15 years from now. Just don't get involved in welfare scandals.
See, the problem is that if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Vikings after this season, I'm done. I'm sorry. Then that's like you're just following in Favre's footsteps at that point.
Everybody's trying to be Brett Favre, and this is the day and age where nobody wants to be Brett Favre, but I digress.
True. But honestly, with this one, I'm hoping that he's poised for a big year after sitting behind Aaron Rodgers. I mean, who better to learn from than Rodgers, such a pioneer as a quarterback. I mean, he's done so much, accomplished so much with the Green Bay Packers. I wish him all but luck with the New York Jets. Of course, we'll eventually get into my last takeaway about another target of his joining him, but Jordan Love, it just doesn't seem like a great situation. He doesn't have a whole lot of targets. I mean, they did go after a couple new wide receivers for him heading in this year, but I just don't know. I mean, Jordan Love was showing that when he came in for Rodgers that he can hold his own, can throw the football, can move the offense better than Aaron Rodgers did last year. So I'm really hoping that Love can fit this offense moving forward with the Green Bay Packers. But I just don't know if he's got what it takes to be a starting quarterback. I mean, I could be totally wrong, but time will tell. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I mean, so you're talking about Randall Cobb, right? Sorry, I got...
Well, I was still talking about Jordan Love.
Oh, sorry. And again, we'll see what happens. I feel like he's gonna do okay, but I feel like he's gotta not worry about the expectations so much. He's gotta not worry about, he's just gotta take it week by week is basically what I'm gonna say. If he could take it week by week, improve a little each week, I feel like winning the division is not going to be in the cards. I feel like it's going to be...
I don't think so.
I feel like it's, easily going to be the Vikings and the Bears, and they are... or Vikings and the Lions, and they are clearly going to pace this division for the next, 3-4 years, I'd say.
Personally, it's going to be some growing pains for the Green Bay Packers and their fans. They're just going to have to understand and be patient that they're in the rebuilding phase. It's going to take some time before they get back to where they used to be. So, personally, I will say this now. The pressure has to be on their coach there. I mean,
Matt
you go, what? Yeah, because he goes, 2 or 3 years, 13-3 now. Last year you had a very crappy year. If you keep on going with that going forward, I honestly, as a somewhat Packers fan, they got to get rid of that GM. He's not doing what needs to be done to move that team forward. Like
He's kind of
he's a
got him
terrible.
stalled.
Like
I mean, he's got
I
him
could.
stalled right now. They didn't draft a receiver. They lost at least 3 of them to the Jets.
I mean, they did draft one. I think early. I think like second round they drafted one. So it's not like they didn't do what needed to be done, but it just that GM like you've let a lot of pieces go. You've also lost Aaron Rodgers because he just clearly wasn't happy, and the GM wasn't doing anything to really help Aaron Rodgers. I think if they had a different GM, Aaron Rodgers would probably still be on the team if they were willing to help him out and give him the targets and the people that he needs to improve his team. But I just think that you gave all that money to Rodgers when you could have gave it to Devontae Adams, and then he would still be in Green Bay. But oh well. Speaking of a former receiver of Aaron Rodgers, yeah, Randall Cobb has now signed a 1-year deal to join the New York Jets. It's not the first former receiver that has joined Aaron Rodgers. Alan Lazard has also joined the New York Jets, I think, on a 1-year contract. So, yeah, I mean, he gets Alan Lazard, he gets Randall Cobb, he gets Garrett Wilson. He gets some weapons there. I
New
mean,
York Packers.
he also gets Corey Davis. So, honestly, if you look at that, that's a decent receiving core. I think that the Jets have definitely improved offensively wise. I mean, they get Brees Hall that might be back fully healthy too. So honestly, I really do think that I really do think it's underneath the folders.
All right, yeah. So,
But Randall Cobb, I think that he's somebody that has the chemistry of Aaron Rodgers. You get 2 former receivers that have chemistry with Aaron Rodgers already, and you have an offense that I think Randall Cobb is used to and has excelled with. Aaron Rodgers, the sky is the limit in New York. And as a Bills fan, you see all these teams that have improved, and it makes you like, man, this season is going to be interesting. The AFC East, I feel like, is going to be interesting to watch.
I feel
Because
like
I really do think that the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills have all improved. Like, even, like, Buffalo, we'll talk about it.
I just love the
the
Dolphins
new.
fans that are getting so full of themselves saying, oh, don't matter who the Jets get, they're going to be battling for the basement. Like, yeah, right. They're going to be right in the thick of the battle with the two of you.
I think that there could be a 3-way battle between the Jets,
Yeah.
Bills, and Dolphins. I don't think the Patriots have done enough to improve that team.
Hey, mind
Really?
you, the Jets would have been in that battle last year if they didn't nosedive in December. Okay, December
Right.
is where they really nosedived. Now you got Aaron Rodgers, a guy who's been through it all, really.
Mm-hmm.
And, versus your quarterback. I mean, I think really if they had the quarterback now, like if they had a quarterback in December that was their surefire starter, I don't feel maybe this would have been a nosedive like it was. I feel like we'd be talking about the Jets in that 7th seed last year. I mean, mind you, they went through 3 or 4 different quarterbacks last year and still somehow kept pace with the Bills and the Dolphins until the final month. So,
I mean, yeah. I mean, the Dolphins did, improve their defense. But if you look at the offense, I mean, yeah, I guess somewhat they got some decent slot receivers. They go with Waddle and Tyreek Hill, but that offense didn't look like they improved really much. I mean, Barrios is all right, and then Anderson, he has his moments, but
Oh, the
I,
chosen
I,
guy? Give me a
I
break
just
at
don't
that.
know. I mean, if you look at it, Jets have definitely improved. I think offensively and defensively. Buffalo has definitely, I think, improved offensively and defensively. Of course, I'll talk about it.
Mhm.
But the Dolphins, I don't know why they always gravitate towards defense. Maybe because they're just scared that, they got all these offensive teams and they want a defense that can, hold up. But getting a guy like Jalen Ramsey, I don't think is the right option here. I hate to say it.
They should have spent the money on offensive line to protect Tua. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
that should have
I
been
agree.
focus one. Okay.
So I mean, you can get offensive talent all you want. You can get defensive talent all you want. But if you can't protect a quarterback,
I mean,
it's
Tua's
just tough.
come on, Tua's a year he's at least a concussion or two from being removed from this game. You gotta
True.
protect him at this point. Um,
Right.
you know, because your whole playoff picture relies on him. I'm sorry, but look at the games with Tua versus without, and that'll tell you. I can tell you right now, Tua gets knocked out with another serious concussion like he did twice this year. Um, Dolphins ain't making the playoffs. They're not even going to be number 2 in the division. It'll be a two-way battle.
I want to add this too, and I didn't write it down, but I saw an article about DeAndre Swift. The real reason why he went with number 0 is because that's how many conference championships the Cowboys have won since he's um, been in the league or something like that, or been alive. I'm like, damn, that's a nice dig to the
You
Cowboys
couldn't
right there.
you couldn't tell me that for Tinkle on this. Now we just
I know,
come on. All right.
I
Well, we
know.
got our early Tinkle on this. We do have another one for later. Um, oh my god. And ironically, it'll still be 0 because the Eagles will get there again this year. So,
True.
um, oh man. All right. I think we gotta talk about Nick Foles though.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the downward trajectory, the downward spiral he's really just had since that Super Bowl and since he won MVP in the Super Bowl? This is, I think, the 3rd team he's been released or traded by since he's left.
I know it's crazy because
Uh,
he's been with Jacksonville, Indianapolis. Of course, he's been with Philly before, and was with another team after. Like, he's
he's
been
had
all over the place as of late.
he's had
Indianapolis
yeah,
too. I mean,
Indy,
it's.
Chicago, Jacksonville, 2
Hmm.
stints in Philly. I believe he was with the Rams for a year. I believe he was also with the Chiefs in between there when Andy Reid
Yeah, I
first
definitely
started
remember him
coaching.
being with the Rams. I think he was Goff's backup for a little bit there.
Yeah, so just brutal, honestly, and I feel like this has got to be the end at this point. I mean, I feel like he should retire and really just become that offensive coordinator, like I said he should have a few years ago.
I
Um,
probably don't want to hurt at this point. I think he should go into coaching or something because clearly
mm,
being a quarterback, which I mean, I look at it this way. He won something that I thought he would never win in his whole entire NFL career, a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP. So I mean, at least,
come
at
on,
least he
dude.
can go down knowing that, hey, shoot, I
Go,
won one.
go down
I
with
won a race.
go down with that, and then go talk to MGM Studios and make a movie about it. Come on, like you
You
could
have to.
come on. I mean that'll be a box office hit. Just make a movie about you bouncing around from team to team, and then going to the Eagles for a second stint and winning a Super Bowl. I mean, we know it's a Hollywood ending. at the end of the day.
It
You
kind of
know,
reminds you of what happened with Kurt Warner. I mean, undrafted, goes to the Rams,
yeah, that
you
movie
know,
was great, by the way.
and
But
won the Super Bowl. So honestly, they should make a movie like that, but only with Nick Foles.
and you got to get Tom Brady to guest star in it.
Oh Lord.
But all right. On a serious note, I think maybe the Chiefs would be the team that'd be interested in him again. And the only reason I say that is Chad Henne retired this. He retired on the field during the or at the end of the Super Bowl. So I don't know if they got a backup yet. And frankly, seeing Mahomes limp the last two Super Bowl runs, you gotta imagine that they're gonna want someone in that backup role who knows how to play in the big games. And Nick Foles knows how to play in the big games. I mean, for God's sakes, he played against the GOAT. So,
Sure.
and beat the GOAT. So that should tell you all you need to know about who should be their backup quarterback. But speaking on the Chiefs, man, this running back situation for them is always quite interesting, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
Jarek,
Jared. Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say Jerick McKinnon, he re-signed. Add in that they have the second-year pro Pacheco. It looks like CEH is going to be the guy that's phased out of this lineup. Of course, they announced this week that Clyde Edwards-Helaire, his fifth-year option will not be picked up.
What after this year?
Yeah, after this year. So I guess will he be
Or
the
he will be
starter going in,
Yeah,
or will McKinnon be the starter going into next season?
I would think that McKinnon's probably going to be used more like a pass catching back with Pacheco as your main back. It would have to make sense. I mean, Pacheco has a lot of speed, and came into his own towards the last bit of the season, where Jerick McKinnon was kind of like in as the secondary back. So I would assume that's what's going to be the case for the Chiefs. I think Pacheco is going to be the starter, and then Jerick McKinnon is going to come in as like a relief slash a pass catching back. Because I hate to say it, Andy Reid has so much creativity in that offense that he's going to find some way to utilize both of those running backs in some way that teams are not expecting it. So
I feel like running backs should be taking notes here because the Super Bowl champion isn't paying $20 million a year for a running back. Okay, I feel like teams should take note of that. Look at the Super Bowl champs before them. I forget who won it the year before that. Shoot, how do I forget that?
before the Chiefs,
Yeah, last year.
the Rams.
Yeah, the Rams, they had, I believe, a rotating situation. So look, I get running backs want to, feel valued. They want to make the money and all that. But the last two Super Bowl champs didn't have a RB1. Now, granted, the Rams RB1 was hurt. But again, I mean, if you can win Super Bowls without a designated top running back getting 20 plus carries a game, do you really need that position?
Probably not.
Or do you really need a top guy in that position?
No, honestly, I don't understand why the league doesn't evolve into getting a lot of pass catching running backs. Somebody that can do both, like run and pass and catch, because I feel like that's how the league should go. Like you shouldn't have a traditional running back, because then you can have you can just have so much creativity on the offense. Like, because a lot of teams, if they see him in the backfield, they're gonna think, oh, he's gonna run the ball. No, he's gonna be catching the ball because he has great hands. I feel like eventually maybe, but at this point, the league hasn't really gotten that advanced yet where the running back's going to become, dual threat running back yet. But it is safe to say that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be a free agent after this year, which is sad because I don't think the Chiefs really gave him a chance. I mean, I guess I don't know if he was
too much.
I was going to say he wasn't really able to stay healthy, but when you have a guy like Pacheco and you have Jerick McKinnon, I don't think you need Clyde. Hate to say it.
The best part about Clyde Edwards-Helaire is they compared him to Brian Westbrook, and he gets hurt every year, so now he really is Brian Westbrook.
Oh my god.
I had to point it out. Look.
Speaking of a running back committee, it seems like Buffalo is going that route. Especially with signing the 33-year-old running back Latavius Murray. I don't know why they would, but he was on a free agent visit. He'll ultimately get signed by the Bills. His goal in mind, the reason why he went to Buffalo is trying to win a championship. That always seems to be everybody's goal, joining the Bills. And to me, honestly, when I see it, I'll believe it. But right now, I haven't seen it, and I don't believe it. So, and that's from a Bills fan himself. But honestly, I'm not opposed to it. He's somebody that can bring some veteran depth to the team. But it makes me wonder. I mean, you have like a lot of talent, running back wise. I mean, we have what? Damian Harris, James Cook, Latavius Murray. For sure, we Buffalo has one more running back there.
I mean, see, I feel like these acquisitions that they made, they're good. They're good for depth. But I feel like the landscape of the AFC is so much different than 2 years from now when the Bills, or 2 years ago when they made that championship run.
Mm-hmm.
It's, at some point it's now, no longer a yearly, the Bills are the team to beat. The Bills are the team to beat. Now I feel it's the you need to prove it situation. Where
that's why I think they went out and really improved on both sides of the ball, because they knew that, they needed to in a major way.
But again, it's one of those where I'm just like, until I see it, I'm not going to believe it.
I know. That's true. And then that's why I'm like, I need to see it to believe it. I really do need to see them improving. I mean, getting a guy like Kincaid was great. Getting a guy like Osiris, I think is somebody was a steal of the draft. Somebody that can come in and be a week one starter right away at guard. I think that they improved offensive line wise. I think receiver wise, offense talent wise, they did. They also got shorter, somebody that can come in as a depth receiver that can, take some pressure off of guys. So I think in the way of the offense, they definitely improved. Defensively wise, getting a guy like Poona Ford, I don't know if you've seen highlights on this guy, but this guy has started 2 years straight, all 16, 17 games. Like, this man is still young at 27 years old. He's got a lot of upside as a defensive tackle. Honestly, I think he's somebody that probably should start for the Buffalo Bills, not gonna lie. Somebody that can come in, be acclimated to the defense up front, and somebody that can, be a great run stopper. He was the one that also tackled Derrick Henry for short yardage. This man, Seattle also is no laughing joke when it comes to defense either. They've always had a decent defense, even though they don't have the Legion of Boom anymore. So getting a guy like him, I honestly do think that works. And then also getting some defensive end depth too. former defensive end from the Indianapolis Colts. I think it's good going forward. I think that it can maybe help bolster the team. It doesn't hurt to get that depth. So then, if guys do get hurt, then you got guys that have had reps, that can come in when other guys go down and can still help this team in the long run. Personally, the window is definitely closing for the Buffalo Bills. That you really got to act fast before they go wayside, and you got teams like Bengals and the Chiefs being the juggernauts.
In the Jags, you gotta add the Jags into this talk after last year,
especially with getting back, Calvin Ridley this year. I would say so.
Yeah, and you got the emergence of the Jags. You got the Jets, who, at bare minimum, are going to be a 2-year threat to the Bills. You got the Dolphins, who've been on the up and up. You got the Chargers that are slowly getting back to the up and up. It's just a matter of time. I mean, I feel like if it's not this year, I feel like it's going to be a this year or never type situation for them, to be honest, like regardless, because, Jacksonville's going to be good for a while without question. Then, I'm not as worried about Green Bay, but I mean, Cincinnati's going to be good. Okay. This is the second straight year it's been Chiefs and Bengals in the AFC Championship, so for a fact we're going to see that for years to come if at this rate. And should I add in, by the way, the NFL schedule comes out 4 days from now?
Yeah, May 11th.
Thursday night. So it'll be interesting, I guess, to see what matchups will be where. We know this year they are adding a Black Friday game. I don't know if
it'll be interesting who's going to start the season. I'm really thinking that Buffalo might do it again against Kansas City and Kansas City.
I'm thinking we might see Cincinnati and Kansas City. I feel like that game's going to be put on a big spotlight this year.
I mean, do you think it's big enough to start the season?
I heard, you know what? I mean, I think they play Philly this year too, so I wouldn't be shocked to see the Chiefs and the Eagles play each other.
A Super Bowl rematch, week 1. I mean, that'd be something. On the Thursday opener.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look. I believe
I don't think that's ever really truly been done before.
No, Super Bowl 50. After Super Bowl 50 it happened. Yeah, so they have to play the Eagles at home next year. So I wouldn't be shocked to see the Chiefs play the Eagles in the opener on Thursday night.
That would be one hell of a game, I feel like.
So I wouldn't be shocked to see that. I wouldn't be shocked. I don't know if the Jets play the Packers at all next year.
What better way for the Philadelphia Eagles to see them raising the banner and just screaming them on the road? That'd be awesome.
I'd love to see that. But everybody talks about Patrick Mahomes being Mr. September, so you doubt that's going to happen.
Meh. We'll see.
Yeah, so I feel like that's gonna happen. I think we're gonna see the Jets in like all the primetime games they're gonna get.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Because the media is gonna hype up Aaron Rodgers is in a new location. So,
with a new number.
With a new number. And his whole entire wide receiver core from Green Bay plus whoever the Jets had before. So, they're going to hype that all up. I feel like the Bills are going to get at least 4 primetime games. But I feel like it's going to be the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Jets that are going to get the max. They're going to get every primetime game they have coming to them. And I feel like the Black Friday game is going to be a letdown. Just something tells me it's going to be a matchup nobody cares about.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Especially because they're going to give it away free. I think it's going to be a matchup nobody wants to see because, let's face it, Amazon will not want to give away a good game for free.
It'll probably be like the Texans against the, I don't know.
But I feel like that game will be a letdown.
The Packers or something like that.
And I think what'll also be interesting is keep in mind the NFL has tried to do Christmas Day games the last few years. Next year or this year, of course, Christmas Eve falls on a Sunday, so we'll have all the games on Christmas Eve, I imagine. Then it'll be interesting to see if any games move to like Monday afternoon. I think they should try again to go Monday afternoon. I feel like they won over Christmas last year. And the rating showed, so. But I don't know if ESPN will want to do Monday Night Football because keep in mind they have the NHL or the NBA Christmas games.
Right.
So I feel like this is going to be a real toss-up of will we see Christmas Day, like a Monday Night Football Christmas game? Will we not?
I'm sure we will.
I'm sure we will, and I feel like maybe it'll be simulcast on ABC, and they'll say TNT can either have the late game for the NBA, or it's just going to get put on ESPN too.
Right.
So, that's all coming up. Before we talk about Tinkle on this, I got to get your prediction here because we do have a football championship this weekend. I know you don't care about the XFL, but the championship is between the 4-6 Arlington Renegades and the 9-1 DC Defenders.
4-6 team got there.
Yeah, I can't believe it. So. But DC's favored by 6, and this is a team that very well could have gone undefeated. So I got to go DC.
I would have to go DC as well.
But
I don't
yeah,
think a team would be in the champion.
See what I was saying though about teams that don't have a chance of getting there somehow getting there this year. See how I said it's sort of a trend if you think about it without crying rigged.
But if you think about it. You never know. It could be that 4-6 team that shocks everybody and wins it all.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But,
also, speaking of it, did you see that championship? Like those trophies they were handing out to teams. Like, come on now, Rock. Really, that's the best you can do for trophies. I mean,
low budget.
You could probably like it looked so basic.
Hey. Say what you will about how The Rock or what trophies The Rock is given out, it still beats watching the USFL.
I mean, that's true.
It still beats what the USFL draws for a crowd because I woke up to a game. I'll just say this real quick. I don't even know who it was. I think it was the Houston USFL team. There was like nobody in the stands. And then right after the Kentucky Derby, they cut over to Detroit for a USFL game. And I kid you not, both stadiums were completely empty, and it sounded like they were pumping in fake crowd noises. How in the hell is the USFL still around is beyond me. But
I think just to have something, I think just to have football on TV, which, I mean, it's cool and all that. Now football is kind of like almost year round, but
old Rupert Murdoch must have a little more than 787 million laying around. Sorry, I shouldn't have said that. That's another political reference, but hey, he must have a decent stash sitting around somewhere to be able to pay the bills. Besides, the lawsuits. But again, I don't want to get into that. But for those who don't know, the USFL is owned by Rupert Murdoch and Fox. So that's what the reference is to. More than, again, I didn't want to get political, and I'm not going to with that. I'm just going to leave it at that he clearly has more than 700 million laying around. But Tinkle on this, man. I saw this one. I woke up to this one on Sports Center this morning. The Devils goalie, he leaves the net to grab the puck. Now, normally when they leave the net to clear the puck, they're passing it to a teammate, right? Well, not not this one. Passes it right to the Devil, or right to the Carolina Hurricanes player who shoots it. And let me tell you, this was a dead giveaway goal, but bounces that off the goal post. His teammate recovers. The second the goalie gets back to the net, it's shot in. And, of course, it led to a Devils routing. Carolina won 6-1. But, oh, my gosh, man. This is seriously the same team that beat the New York Rangers. That's that's what's remarkable about this whole thing. This is the team that beat the New York Rangers. Come on, guys. For that, oh, my gosh. Tinkle on this to whoever that New Jersey goalie was. And tinkle on this to Lindy Ruff. So, oh my gosh. With that, if you guys are back for No Final Bell this week, what's coming up?
I'm not exactly sure. Should note, apologize for not having an episode this week. Just too much had too much going on. Kind of still have a lot going on. We're going to try to see about cramming a lot of wrestling once tomorrow to maybe record and whatnot to have a show for Wednesday. If not, I do apologize for a 2-week absence. Life's kind of getting a little busy right now, so it's not that I'm purposely doing it. I know we were consistent getting the viewership up and everything, and now it's like back into the same old hurrah again. It's not that we're doing it on purpose. It's just life kind of is throwing us a curveball. My hours all over the place. Marty's is all over the place. It's just kind of becoming the thing right now. So I do apologize for that. We're gonna try to get it back on track hopefully soon.
Yes. I get that. Out of turn 4, we're clicking away. We're trying to get you to the Indy 500. I guess I'll make this announcement now. Of course, our show will be on Tuesday, May 15th. We'll have that one, or Tuesday, May 16th, or Tuesday, May 9th. Oh my gosh, I'm confused. So we'll have Tuesday, May 9th. We'll have Tuesday, May 16th, Tuesday, May 23rd, but anticipate once again our Out of Turn 4 Indy 500 special at the end of the month. We are in the month of May now, so we'll get to talk Indy 500, hopefully May 27th with a special, but again, we'll lead you into the first event in the month of May for IndyCar, and that is, of course, the GMR Indy Grand Prix. Should be a good one. And then, of course, we'll get to talk Darlington on Mother's Day weekend, throwback weekend. Always a fun one with the throwback paint schemes for NASCAR. And, that's pretty much all that's coming up here. Also, a new manufacturer for Jimmy Johnson and his NASCAR team. So that'll be a fun one to cover. So, of course, we want to thank you for watching. Tune in Tuesday and Wednesday to our shows if No Final Bell's on as well. Otherwise, we'll see you back here next Sunday. We'll have a lot more for Sunday morning Tinkle. But until then, goodbye, everyone.